Hey Fitz, welcome on in. Um, so right now, I'm just going from the beginning where it's us right now, but I already have a whole idea of like where what to talk about, and of course, like I always ask for your input, and I love just having the communication open with people that they can just jump in and um come in and ask for questions or just to start a dialogue or anything like that. But this week coming up, as you know, Monday there's no trading. So for respect of Martin Luther King and his birthday, so like that's always something to reflect on why we do this trading and why is like we hold it valuable for our community essentially, to be investors and to be participant in the market. That way we can be able to help not just ourselves but others. And of course, like I always focus on this motto, like chase the process. Don't chase the process, right? We're not chasing the money at all. Like focus on the process, and we'll get it all through. You know. So I love this Wyckoff. It's always just a reminder of where we're buying and selling in the phase of the distribution of shares of a stock, because a lot of these stocks have higher floats, and some of them that do have higher floats might have just as high as shortable shares. So, keeping those in mind, once we know where we're buying on the trend of a chart, it usually gives us an idea of where we can find upside or on the downside. So, looking at it from two different phases, right? From upside to downside. Um, and now always many embody one in mind. We're always looking to help and inspire each other so that we can, like I said earlier, move forward and build and create a stronger community. So like I said before, on Monday, uh, you know, the market is closed. Logitech is supposed to be releasing earnings after, I guess around after 4 p.m. or so. So, so there shouldn't be much activity on Monday. I'm not really looking to pay attention to actual market activity. But the earnings is going to be pretty busy this week. So knowing that we have a lot of financial companies that are looking to move the market in some way, shape, or form. A lot of like Wells Fargo, JP Morgan kind of gave out their earnings a lot on Friday. So, and a couple of others, I think Bank of America. But there are so many more that should be coming out as well, including like Goldman Sachs, Charles Schwab's, all these financial institutions that will start off the week, and then we'll end the week with Ally and uh, yeah, and I am First Hawaiian Bank. So that part would be really interesting there. Out of all these companies, though, when I'm looking at stocks in the market, I'm more, even though there's some airliners that are coming out with their earnings as well, but I'm more interested in what fuel cell energy will have in its earnings because of its low float status and its almost being like a leader in comparison with Blink Energy as a leader in energy efficient cells, so that we're not using any fossil fuel cells. We're using more cleaner energy. So I'm really interested in what that lower float has to say when Thursday morning comes. Um, Also, some other interesting players that might happen during the week. Intel, they just had like a change in their CEO. So they've been saying in the semiconductor space that they've been lagging in comparison to others, which I agree. There's been so many other semiconductors. LASR was one of them that really outpaced Intel, and So AMD surpassed, and I believe there's another one. Not I can't remember off the top of my head right now, but there's been other semiconductors that have been moving much more than Intel. So hopefully, that it's been projected that the hopeful change in the CEO will give Intel a better run in comparison to its competitors. So financials, we see Netflix, for entertainment purposes. It has been outpaced by, unfortunately, it has been outpaced by Roku, which probably does the least the least amount of work in comparison to Netflix with its own not theater, but its own viewer experience when it comes to the actual device or the actual app. So these are just a couple of things that I'll be looking forward to during the upcoming week. Looking at the actual chart, and I know I said we'll look at some crypto related stuff, but I want to really take a look at the Dow first, and with the Dow being where it is, and how the market might run for the remaining week, if not the remaining, going into February, because that's where I'm really looking at, how the economy will start bouncing back once Joe Biden starts to take really officially start his days in office, and that's this week, right? So right now the Dow is kind of it's bouncing, right? It's pulled back after Friday, where Friday, who knows, how the market was going to react. We do know that there were some things that were pretty frothy, pretty overbought, and need to pull back, especially with the SPAC activity. So a lot of SPACs have been like just super, super overbought. And then there's been other communication companies that have been overbought too. So, and energy. So we're looking at energy, oil, banks. A lot of them have been pretty overbought. So now, with the pullback on Friday, we see that, we're testing kind of the lows, but not so much. It should come up higher as it is consolidating right now. So that's with the Dow. But if we compare that, like I said, with the cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, we could tell that it has found its all-time high right around 42,000, and then there goes the pullback. So this is the pullback that we addressed last week, that it should happen, right? Because after it creates a new high, the only thing that it should do, it really is just to pull back. And we go back to that conversation from last week. If you pull it up on YouTube as Stocks and Squats, you'll be able to see that conversation about the pullback, and it did exactly that. And it looks like then it still has some opportunity to bounce. Obviously, there's been a lot of investors from major financial institutions that are interested, and if not just the currency itself, but its technology. So we see that Bitcoin is kind of just bouncing off of its previous lows, which the previous lows was around 32,000, and it's finding some stability around 35,000. So, if we continue to get any, market chatter or declining chatter, I should say, in the Dow, maybe this will, a bit being Bitcoin, maybe this will find some bouncing and actually go to the upside as a kind of like a secondary reassurance on, any type of downside. So I can see that with Bitcoin. Hopefully it will hold, because with Bitcoin, there is so many stocks that are out there, and out of all the stocks that I've seen, I see that there are some that really should have a closer pay attention to. And one of them is DPW. DPW is another low float stock that has some influence in the crypto space. Now, they are an energy player as well. If we look into the back of what they do, they supply energy to military, so to the aerospace military. So if we know of any type of movement that happened last week, that we see Virgin Galactic start moving higher, uh, on aerospace news, and we see that there are uh, more activity that's happening around with, you know, Bezos and Amazon getting in with their Blue Origin. I believe that's what it's called. Commercial aerospace, uh, like their aerospace equipment. So they want a shuttle. So they want to be able to make it very commercial for everyone to be able to navigate the outer space realm. So like this will be another way to be able to provide natural clean energy to a company, well, to an aerospace defense company, where where America as a whole is looking to back away from energy that is not as clean. So even though DPW is a crypto space, is in the crypto space, is also being a major player in the energy space, which, not surprising, crypto could create energy and energy is creating crypto. So that makes perfect sense to me. Um, but other than DPW, when it comes into the crypto space, I see that there's a couple of other like ETFs that are, I don't even know if I should call them ETFs. And it's crazy because DPW, this is not a chart that I would typically buy, just because of how flat it is. But there has been times where it made some moves, and I've capitalized in some of these moves. But at the same time, it's so flat. Um, you know, so I don't know how much I would rather, want to be fully invested, but I feel like this one will be definitely an interesting play, particularly that it had some movement um, recently in November. So I really like it, but I'm still like very skeptical just because of its long term history. Um, and like I said, looking at other ETFs that are related to cryptocurrency. We have Ethereum, also in the OTC markets or pink sheets, just like Grayscale, which is the GBTS, BTC ETF. Now they just collect, the best cryptos and place them all onto this ETF, and that's why it's on the OTC market, because regulation is not as stringent as the Nasdaq or the New York Stock Exchange. So like when it comes to these ETFs that are in crypto, it's always just good to look back and see what major hedge fund is managing the actual ETF, because even though we see cryptocurrency moving, we still want to see that the ETFs that are related to it will do the same thing. And this is Grayscale, which has been doing very, very well. As we can see that it made all-time high and is pulling back off of that. Maybe it pulls back like, maybe it pulls back to 20 SMA and around 35. And then from that, it bounces and goes higher because this is a previous support right here. So maybe it bounces off these levels, maybe it doesn't, but it's still a good, kind of an indicator to watch along with cryptocurrency, to see where it could actually go. And then also, who was he? Oops, I'm sharing my screen. Right? Yeah. So also with that, I have to like look. What's going? There we go. Oops. Oh, it was still. That's why. That's why it said the earnings up behind the actual chart. Um, when it comes to the rest of the cryptocurrency, uh, I see that there could be, I don't know how much other work could be put into cryptos without other investors coming in. So, just anticipate any type of upside essentially with the cryptocurrency space. I was hoping that the person who really has more knowledge and insight um, related to cryptocurrency, who came a couple of weeks ago. I was hoping that he would be able to jump back in today, but I did reach out to him a lot later than I could. But at least from what I've read and what I've kind of navigated through, uh, I see DPW probably being one of those stocks that could do something in the crypto space. But going into like energy, back to fuel cell, which was on the earnings, which is up for earnings this week. And this is why I wanted to just to give it a look, because I know sometimes when earnings, you'll have a stock that comes out with earnings later on in the week, and then there's a tend to be a run up before earnings. I don't know if I missed that already. I feel like a lot of that was already missed. Now, you know, um, you know, being that it's coming out on Thursday pre-market, it was already running from back into January 5th. Um, so from back then, it was already running, and when it ran from $10 to $20 in a matter of 12 days. Um, so that's pretty decent. Which all of energy has been pretty much running these past couple of weeks. So with this stock, what I particularly really would like to see happen is that on Tuesday, when the market opens, that it holds this support right around 15.80, $16. If it can do that, and I'll draw my trend lines in there so you can see what I do real time when I'm looking for any type of entry and exit. And I know Fitz, you are very familiar with it, but as I repost these videos, I like to just go into a little bit of detail and where and why, which it has helped for this past 2 weeks when since the market has only been open for 2 weeks, and we have already seen so much market activity on the bullish side. So just to have one down day on Friday where it kind of breaks a streak of up days, but it still shows that hey, the pullbacks are necessary for more upside. So this pullback happened with fuel cell. There was a pullback after it created its all-time highs and is basing here around $16. So if it can hold this $16 area, that'll be super sweet. I would absolutely love that. But for some odd reason, if it starts coming down to $14, which is not where I would, relatively like it to be, like, but that could still create an opportunity for some upside because we do see that it is consolidating, and it is consolidating above the 200 SMA, which is this red line here. So just for some type of awareness, we have this teal line, which is the 20 SMA, the green line, which is the 5 SMA. Actually, I switched it to 9. I haven't changed it back since Fitz suggested to change it to 9. So, but it runs the same. So I like it regardless. And so that's very helpful. So anytime when the prices are trading above the 200 SMA and then trading above the 20 SMA and then trading above the 5 EMA, the prices tend to go higher. And that's what we see right here. When it previously made its high. So I can only anticipate a first green day on Tuesday when the market opens. If I could get in, I would say like around 16 before 1680, maybe around 1620 Where there's 1652 on the 20 SMA, 1604 on the 5 EMA. Now, if I can get halfway in between those two, so if I can get in like around 1625, I would say, 1625 entry point right around here, showing that it's holding support, and as it holds support, I'll have a risk of maybe $16. That's 25 cents on the downside, and a possible upside of, you know, let's say first we'll say 1680. So that's really like 60 cents, 70, 60, no, 65 cents. So from 1625 to 1680, that's 55 cents. Sorry, 55 cents. So 55 cents on the upside, um, really 25 cents on the downside. But if the momentum carries it and everything that happens correctly with the Biden economic plan stimulus, and see how everything moves in the Senate concerning these things, then I should not see any lagging with this. It's like GM doing, I think it was a flying car, like they have some flying cars or something like that. But that would be something that I saw on Instagram. I didn't really get a chance to really research it. But as we could tell, because of the economic plan, General Motors made an all-time high, and they came out with their new car. So like, so it's one of these things that people are relatively bullish. But this is one stock that once it's finished pulling back, which it looks like it's trying to hold some support around this $50 area, well, $49 actually, to be more specific. So if it holds this $50, $49, $50 area, whichever, if it holds that, then yes, it should go up higher. But the potential that it could break this, according to the chart, it looks like it still has some type of downside unless there's some good news that happens on Tuesday. But I like GM still overall. I think that they're going to be the American powerhouse when it comes to EVs and electric cars. Only unless one of these SPACs from that's related to EVs starts to pull up and show out against GM. And some of those cars that, like, as looking at the watch list that I have for electric autos, um, I, I know that some of these SPACs have already merged. Like I'm looking at FVAC and HCCH and GRAF. Like I know a lot of them have already merged already. Um, and I have been looking at more Chinese. So I can't say that I know that there's a lot of American cars that are really trying to come onto the SPAC SPAC space. Other than, I think there's one. I think it was what was this? I think it was, yeah, CCIV. CCIV. If I remember correctly, they have a car. Even though it's very speculative, I know they have a car. I just don't remember the ins and outs of their car. I have to really research this one once again. But yeah, that would be, this is, CCIV is probably one that I see in the car space, that has, actually, no, this is a totally different company. Target. Chewy. I can't believe how well Chewy did. Well, I can. You start to realize that people really love their dogs. Had no idea. Well, I had an idea, but didn't know it was that aggressive. Um, yeah. So Churchill was Bill Foley's transmitted acquisition, second largest holding. No. So I don't know. I might have to look once again on CCIV. I remember doing something very like in the electric auto space, but my memory is probably getting a little tired after such a long weekend. But uh, oh, you know where it might be actually? I think more insider information was actually posted on Twitter. Come to think about it, as we go to Twitter. So it was Lucid Autos. That's what it was. Lucid. So you see, like some people would say, back to 12. I like it because I'm like, oh, I could see that happen. I could see it going back to 12. Um, but I know that everyone's waiting for that merger announcement, and there hasn't. I have not seen the definitive agreement for it. Um, So like, even some people were saying, the difference between Neo and CCIV. I could, Neo, everyone loves Neo. Um, but who knows? Who knows what all these other electric autos can really, really do. I'm just hoping that, if there is an American car that will do anything for electric autos, that if it's GM, let it be GM and continue to go to continue to go higher. Um, so that's what I have for cryptos. Well, not energy as a whole, but at least energy related to one SPAC play, which is extremely overbought. Um, but there's a lot of chatter behind it. So I will continue to watch this as the markets run. Um, and communications. Uh, which stock was it for communications? It was not just Zoom, even though Zoom has some potential here. It has some really good potential upside. Yes, it's a little pricey, especially even on the trades, but it's actually inexpensive now. It's back at its lower levels that it created when it first made its earnings back in August. You when after it made its earnings back then, it just kind of just ran higher for a good $100. So like from 320 to almost 600. That's more than 100. But like I'm counting this spike here to there, but from here to here, it created some damage. So who knows what could potentially happen, because like I said, they are releasing their earnings this week. So, and it's on Tuesday. So after the close, we'll see how Zoom affects the rest of the market. Um, there are other stocks that are in the communications department. You know, what's that's more communications, right? So Fubo, Fubo, that's one that I'm really waiting and trying to be patient on, just because it has a lot of upside and that there's sports betting involved with the platform. So when you have things of that nature that people are very interested in, people are interested in sports betting. So when you have that in there, it shows that there is some like interest in the stock, just because everyone loves betting now. So and there's a bet on everything, right? Um, so Fubo is one that I'm definitely looking at as well. Um, but that is all determined on what Zoom does. If Zoom does well when with their earnings, then we can have a replay of what happened back here. They come out with earnings and it just spike back up again. That would be nice to see. But we just don't know. Well, at least I don't know what type of interest that people have on the company. You know, um, you know, and also you got to keep in mind too. And as I'm looking at their news, I always have to all really keep in mind when it comes to how the stock is going to respond to public policy, because the Section 230, that is one of the bigger things that Trump and the Republicans really wanted to push for this, stimulus package before Biden came up with his. That the Section 230 makes the actual social app responsible for the things that are being said on social media, not the actual individual. So, and I know um, Netflix had a lot of problems with that, and I know I have it up on Zoom. I don't know why I have it on Zoom, and I'm thinking about Netflix. I think I want Zoom as well. So like, you know, um, but when it comes to Netflix, we see that it's like trading in this range here. I can't believe I was looking at Zoom. I do want Zoom. I am very interested in Zoom, but Netflix, like I said, we're looking at its earnings coming up this week, so want to see how it really reflects or affects the rest of the communication market. As we can see, is trading in this little range here, right? So if it's trading in this range, it's possible that it could break out of this range if they come out with good earnings. But like I said, Section 230 really does prohibit a lot when it comes to that. Zoom, the only reason why I like it so much really is because of this chart. Other than that, I do feel like when it comes to broadcasting any type of information, whether it's, with public business, small business, private business, uh, school teachers, whoever it is using Zoom. There are other platforms that offer video conferencing as well. So, the Zoom being its own, unique, or it was definitely a disruptor. But I would love, like I said before, I would still love to see it break out, um, uh, since it has crossed over the 5 EMA. So like it crossed over the 5 EMA over here. The moving averages have crossed. The MACD has crossed. It's still halfway on the RSI, so it could still trade sideways. And lastly, it is consolidating, coming into what we say on the x-axis. The histogram is going to switch from yellow to dark blue, if not teal, right? Or cyan, I should say, the cyan color. So, this is what the cyan color looks like. So, like I can see, like I see it coming out, but the space is so ubiquitous with similar applications and similar ways of, layering their operating system. So, of the social app, or management app, Teams, and all of that. So that's what I have on communications. Um, I am still looking at technology in some sort of fashion. But the last stock that I have that I would really like to share is PLT. So PLT is Plantronics. Right now, I wish that I bought it when I very much first saw it. I saw it on earlier in the month when it was starting to do this bullish engulfing candlestick pattern, which is one of my favorites. I didn't get in on it, should have, and it's been uptrending since. Of course, it pulled back because it was overbought at that time. But once it pulled back, it found some support, and I missed it because I was in another play. Uh, I was in something else already, so more than likely I was in probably like Neo or um, no, it wasn't, or probably Gain or CLNE because those were really good during the week. But PLTN, what they end up having is, like I said, they end up doing stuff with and providing services for businesses. So their services usually entail um, being part of communications and collaborating with customers and small businesses and individuals. So they have their categories really more in their like their headsets, voice and audio and stuff like that. So we know that since people use Zoom and they are on these like conference calls and things of that nature, um, headsets and getting the right speakers and things of that nature. That's why I like Sonos so much last week, because I was like, hey, people are still going to want to play music or even play their, you know, whatever meeting it is in their speaker system, something that's a little bit louder, so they can be able to hear if they didn't want to use headphones. Um, so there are, other companies that are really good are wanting to do something in space of small businesses that are using, um, cameras, speakers, microphones, wireless cords of that nature. So uh, maybe they come out with some good earnings, even though they were upgraded back in November to $25. Hopefully, they'll get another upgrade. But we know sometimes with these upgrades, they are upgraded to a price so that now the stock pulls back in price, and those people can get in on the stock. After the analyst says, "Hey, the price is going to go higher," but the stock comes back down. Um, so we know how that goes. I think the last time when they had when PLT had analyst upgrade back in November, their price went to um, it was November 2nd, right? They had analyst upgrade. This is November. Yeah, so right around here, they had an analyst upgrade. Yep, so there it is. They went down. This is the fifth. All right, so well, not the fifth. This the sixth. This is the ninth. I'm sorry. This is the ninth. So analyst upgrade, they go down. Right. Just let me make sure. Let me double check. Mhm. Workhorse. Let's see. November 2nd, they had the analyst upgrade, and it took a couple of days for it to come back down. But either way, it came back down after that analyst upgrade, and now it's creating some more momentum on the upside, and it looks like it can break past its all-time high, and that's what we're hoping for. Because, like I said, I would really, really like to get into this one just because it has breakout capabilities, and the options price is not too bad. Like I would more than likely I wouldn't buy the February because that well no I would buy the February. I'm already in February, not January. Sorry. So like so I would probably end up buying like the $35 call or maybe even the $40 call. The $40 call, the delta is a little bit too low, but if I remember correctly, there was some volume behind it. No, there isn't. Oh, okay. So I read that one wrong. There's not a lot of volume behind this one on the options chart, but the price is there. Like the action is there, the chart is there. The volume is relatively low, like it's in the hundreds of thousands. So it's like 5 to 800,000 typically. Um, so that was another deterrent that I had, that the volume was so low. But like I said, the chart is there, and after it breaks out, it should pull back. Um, so that's one that I'm really looking at, just to see what they do when it comes to small businesses and their communication platform. Um, but other than that, like I think I've gone over every I guess some every stock I really wanted to speak about relating to the cryptocurrency space, the technology space, communications, and how it will, and energy, and how it will all work with earnings coming up. So other than that, like, hey, Fitz, do you have anything that you want to add into the conversation? Like, are there any stocks that that you wanted to go over, that you traded this past week? Because um, I know I will with one of mine, if you're open to it.
Yeah, remember I told you about FRSX. Remember I told you I saw you Thursday afternoon.
Yes,
Yeah, and after I told you it went up over $3 next day. It came down back.
yes. This was another one that I was
That,
like, I
that
missed.
small one. Yeah,
I was so mad. Like, this one I was like, and I have it on my list. So it's
yeah.
like, you know,
FRST, FRSX. This is the Foresight. This is one of the this company is for those driverless cars.
right, right.
That camera system on the top of it.
Yeah.
I think they are the one. They are the makers of it.
The camera system.
The system, yeah, that allow it to do the driverless thing.
Mm,
So Apple, I think when Apple came out with the idea of Apple came out with the idea of making cars, right?
yes.
Yeah, some agreement with some their name came up. Some agreement with them about that,
Hmm.
or some plan for with them. So that was where it came out, and because I
Yeah.
had it for a little while before, I had noticed it, and I had it for a little while, and when it was like about three something, $4, and then after that it moved up to about let's see, it went up to
It
okay
went up to like, what was it? Like,
nine. It went up to nine
nine.
thirteen.
Yeah.
Yeah, on Friday, but it came down back because it was a down day, and
Yeah.
it
It had a pullback. Yeah. It was.
yeah, it pulled back. It went right up, and it
But it
pulled
looks
back.
like it's holding, because even though
Yeah,
it's doing like what almost every stock that actually has some type of positive news behind
right.
it is doing, where it will pull back, and it pulls back to the 20
And
SMA, and then just
and
hopefully
it
it'll
holds.
bounce and continue to
Yes,
trade above the 5 EMA,
right.
or the 9 EMA, I should say.
So it holds, and I've been searching for I've been searching for another plug.
Yo, I think we're all looking for another plug that can
Yeah,
do this magnanimous move from
yeah.
$35 to $73.
I don't know. You know it from 35. I know it from $3.
Yeah, right. No, I'm just talking about from like the beginning, because this is all like January has been magnificent with these runs. I was in this one uh,
Right.
from the lows, and then I got out in the $90 area,
Mm-hmm.
just because I didn't. I it was already overbought. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
needed to get out, so that one was a really good hold for me
Mm-hmm.
in that space. Um, you know, I had LI. I got out of that one. I think I it was negligible on there. Lost like $100 or something. It's because it just wasn't doing anything. just trading sideways essentially. And now it actually went down, and it was like, oh, okay, well, at least I understood it was going down. Um, oh wow, James. Oh, James is here. Uh, hey James, how you doing? So, so we're just going over. It's Fitz and myself. We're just going over some of the plays that we had, and Fitz just mentioned FRSX, which is electric autonomous car, where they have a deal with Apple, and Apple is using their camera. Um, and so, like I said, I don't know, what the background is on this one, but if they're dealing with Apple in any type of shape or form, you know that's a good thing because Apple does want
Oh,
to come out with their car. They want to come out with their iCar. So
there's a report here that say Foresight Autonomous shares are trading higher today after the company eyes Net Mobile subsidiary initiate a pilot project with a global Japanese manufacturer. Or maybe this was it. Let me see if there's any more.
yeah, because that's
Um,
what that's what I end up seeing. But
um,
if
something
we know that that's the wave,
that's
we
one
know
of
it's the
them.
future. Um, I know that it looked like they had a price target raised by Aegis Capital, and they maintain a buy on it. But let's see if there's anything else that Finviz might be offering for FSRX, which I I think
Yeah, I
is
think that
not a
was.
SPAC, but
I don't remember where I saw that article. I visited this is the one, but they say that I initiate pilot project with top global vehicle manufacturer. Let me see.
yeah. Well, no, I haven't. This one, I wish that when you mentioned it before, I was like, no, I'm gonna keep that on my list. And I felt like I had it on one list, and I guess I switched it to
Yeah,
another list that's dealing with EVs. Um, and I didn't put it into my above, but let me look and see if I even put it. If I had it in there, no.
yeah, but
But
in the vehicle space, I have CIIC, and it has been holding up well. I think it's waiting for some merger or something. But that's the company that link with UPS to make some trucks.
yes,
CIIC, yeah. So I'm not I own shares, so I'm gonna keep those. I know the option make a lot of money, but I'm holding on the shares for now.
this one does look like a really good one too. I'm glad you brought this up. I feel like that this one is. I'm definitely on the same side with you on this one. This one looks like
Yeah,
it has a lot of upside, above, especially above this $32 area, has
yeah.
the potential to break. Um, but
It
yeah,
show but
support right here at $30, or resistance, I should say.
yeah. It showed potential that it can go up because he went up to 37, and that was about a month ago.
Right. Yeah.
So I think, as I suggested when I saw it the last time, I think this is one you can maybe put the ring on.
Yeah. Put the
Put,
ring on it. He
yeah,
said,
put a ring
marry
on
that
it.
one.
Yeah, you can marry this one here.
Uh,
That's
huh.
how I feel. That's how I feel about this one.
Let me. I could have swore I I thought I had it in my watch list. Like, okay. Hmm. Interesting. On my end. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna continue watching this one and yeah, keep my eye on where it's at. Let's see if maybe you want to put a target. I put an alert there.
Yeah, it has been consolidating right here, right in this area here. If you notice on the chart, one day, the one day, one here daily.
Mm-hmm.
But that, I mean,
Yep.
yeah, it has been consolidating, and
That looks amazing right here. All of this looks amazing. Like
yeah,
it
yeah,
is
that's
turned
another,
up, it's crossing over.
yeah,
Look at this. This is
just
perfect.
cross right over there, and the MACD is just about to cross too,
This is perfect.
above the zero line and everything. Yeah,
Oh man. Damn, Fitz, this don't get no better.
yeah, yeah. I'm thinking of picking up some more.
Yeah, I like this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep this one for a while. Just gonna close my eyes and my mind and forget that it's there. Even go down, I don't let it bother me. I never like to see it go down, but I'm not gonna make it but let it bother me at all.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes it has to go down.
Yeah, yeah,
Sometimes it has to pull back a little bit.
yeah. Not gonna bother me. And
Sometimes,
as I told you, I, I have the Fubos too, but I'm not letting go. I'm not letting go. They're
yeah.
trying everything. They're trying everything to scare everybody out of it. Then they just gobble it up.
Well, it worked for me. It worked on me because I bought this and I bought it on this day, thinking
Yeah.
that it was going to hold, and I was holding it on this day, and it didn't hold. It pulled back on me, and I had to get out. I didn't take any profits on this one. I actually lost some, and I avoided this downturn because I feel like it has like a couple more days of downside.
And what happened after it went up? It went up $12. That's
When
Fubo. That's Fubo.
yeah, this is Fubo. Yeah,
Okay.
I bought it. I bought it on this day. I bought it
What
on
was
this.
what was the price at the time?
What was the price? Let me look. Hold on. Why I don't have my notes up. I 1 second. Thought I had my notes up. But yeah, I had Fubo.
Okay. Okay. So for me, when it went up to 60, I watch it. Oh, I watch it go for about 5 days straight. That's when it runs straight up to 60 from about somewhere in the early 30s or 20, late 20s, and went right up there. And I didn't buy it. So I watched it coming down and it came down to about 38 and I bought in. And after like a few days straight, about 2 or 3 more days, it continued to go down. And it was a little sad each day watching it going down. But, when it went down, I noticed that it started to make it started to go sideways. And I buy in again right there in the 20s.
Mm.
And then it continued, went right up back to about 38, went up about 11, out almost $12. So it was good. And
You said you bought
I,
on which day did you end up buying on?
no, I bought it all the way down to in the 20s. I bought a little today, a little tomorrow, averaging down.
Okay.
That's what I did.
Yeah.
So my
Yeah.
first buy was when it was 38 because I didn't believe after it went up to 60 it was gonna come lower than that. But when I bought the 38 it came down the same way.
Right.
So I continued to buy it down until it went back right up to about 38 and I'm still holding. It come down a little bit, I'm still holding. I'm not gonna give them up.
Not giving it up. Yeah,
No,
it definitely
because
shook me out. I said I bought
yeah,
on this day. I really bought on this day, the 13th, not the 12th. So like I'm looking on the options where I bought, and I was like really perturbed by like how it
yeah,
just it
yeah,
came down on me. Was not feeling it at all. because this was one that I anticipated too, just to like allow it to move higher and don't bother with it. But it was just showing all the signs of it going lower and lower, so I had to get rid of it.
All right. So there's a thing with because I trade both. There's a fear when you do option that it's not so much like when you do the shares. You understand what I mean? Because all in your mind, the time is running out, and you're not sure if it do turn when it gonna turn. That's for option. But when you buy the shares, you know you have that forever. So there's a different there's a different feeling there emotionally because
Yeah,
you own it. So all you have to do just pay attention to something else and leave it because you know eventually you're gonna go back because everything about it is right except the institution trying to scare us out of it.
hmm
They have the, listen. I owned AMD when AMD was $1.50. I had 300 AMD, 300 when it was $1.50, and I remember the earnings came out. It went up to about $3, and then it went up to about $6, and the earnings came out, and it missed the earnings. And those guys sold. I had the shares, and those guys sold off on me. Come bring it right back down to $3 something. And I was so upset, and I sold all of them. And by 2 weeks after, it was about $10.
yeah, and like
AM,
AMD, you can definitely see that because that's with the semiconductors, they were
yeah,
doing it like with Micron. Micron was even that was the other semiconductor I was trying to think of earlier today,
right,
earlier in this meeting. But like, the semiconductors, they're going to move. Like that is something like that was just a smart purchase in that space itself. Like,
right, and
with Fubo, I feel like it's a little bit more speculative, even though they do have positive things behind it. Because when it comes to all this streaming stuff, like all these streaming apps that are available.
mhm,
There it's becoming so saturated. You still don't know which one is, going to be the prominent deliverer of this service. But Fubo has that potential. So I do
yeah,
believe in it. But like you mentioned, when you're thinking in time and you're thinking,
in
decay, how
days,
it decays, it doesn't really work out,
yeah,
in
yeah,
that. And that's what
yeah,
I do. That's why I like options because like even though this is a losing trade, I'm up for the year and I love it. And I even
yeah,
concluded last year being up. So like
yeah,
this is the first time, and I wish I knew options prior to, but it gives because it's like what you mentioned a lot, Fitz, is looking long term, looking past 1 or 2 days and really looking how far it can go.
yeah,
For several days, and I got that with Neo. That worked well with me.
yeah.
Um, but
Oh, because
yes,
you follow the squeeze.
yeah, I followed the squeeze on the hour. So like, the hour really has been vital in that. So the minute it goes overbought on the hour, I
Yeah,
know I can sell it, and then after I sell it, when it will pull back, and once it pulls back, see if it can jump back in.
jump back in, right?
Yeah. So like
I
the hour chart has been very, very helpful when it comes to
mhm,
that.
mhm,
Like for instance, I had Urban Outfitters,
mhm,
uh, and I sold them before they went, actually sold off some of their shares. I think it was because of earnings. Um, oops, hold on. Urban. So like I sold it a little bit too soon, which tends to happen with all of my wins. Like I always sell a little bit too soon here, but this was, back on the 11th. I bought it holding it overnight. The 11th was this day, um, on the stock price chart. So like once it was having, green day pretty much all day, and it was
mhm,
holding. But I sold here because according to the squeeze,
mhm,
it was it was already green, but it was overbought. So
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know how much overbought it could hold. So I said I'm going to sell this because I don't know. And then when the market closed, it sold off. So I was like, even though I sold too early, I left what, like 65, 60 something cents on the table. Or well, not 60 something, 55. I left 55 cents on the table. So like, even though I left that much on the table, all that downside where it just came back to where I originally bought. So, it wouldn't have, you know, it wouldn't have been helpful just trying to chase profits at that point. I just saw the process of just doing an overnight trade, not wasting a day trade. Um, 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 that was with Urban. You mentioned to me the other day Palantir, which
Yeah.
I've been kind of, just watching and waiting, particularly hoping that it does have some type of upside because I do like the way it moves. It moves very strong on the upside and the downside. Um,
And even in the market, in Friday when the sell-off, it was doing very well. It was over $2 something until it finally came down in the almost near to close,
yeah.
right through the day.
Yeah, like you said, when the market opened, it did very well. It was just that second hour, that 10 a.m. hour, that pulled it back. Once everyone, everybody got that 10 a.m. pullback, but not everyone, I should say, majority of uh, did, as we see. Excuse me, where are you? Why is it not? Oh, heat map. There we go. As we see with, we can go to the Russell. It was still kind of mixed on the Russell, the small caps. The Dow Jones, pretty red. Mix, I should say, mix. Consumer discretionary doing pretty well. Communications, I'm still like stuck on this section. Um, then we see that the S&P 500 very mixed as well. Everybody was pretty much down at least 1% or 2. So when the markets are moving like that and they're coming off the downside, it definitely makes it a little bit different. Like,
Mhm.
needless to say, make the market flow a little differently. But Palantir looks like it could, after, let's say that it holds this $25 area, 25.50, I should say, it holds 25.50, bounces from there and tries to retest any type of upside. But if it breaks down this 25.50, 25.60 area, it's definitely coming back down to $25. Um, and the cross and the MACD and the downturn on the RSI and the squeeze um, on the TTM, all all are saying the same thing. Like, it should be coming down. So I would anticipate it coming to at least $25 and trading within this range, right? It might have this range between 24.50 and $28, right? So that's a nice little range. We know that it likes to trade within the range ever since its inception. It's been trading, sideways for a while until it got some news. So let's say that it does come out with some news. There might be some, upside on it. I don't know what other type of news that might be correlated to the stock, but um, you know, I don't know who has any thoughts on Palantir.
But when it was 26, the analyst came out and said it's a sell. See the work,
Right.
didn't work more than $15, and scared everybody for about an hour. I mean, for the I think it was half day and the next morning. And before you know it, it was right back up. I mean, when I checked all the other comments, like on Yahoo Finance, I heard some commentators, they were very upset about it because they say nobody should sell it because they're just trying to scare us out of it that they can gobble up the shares. Everybody's beginning to say that. So And see what happened? By the next day, it went right back up.
That's a shame. Because
Yeah,
like I said, like even with Fubo where it scared me out, there
yeah,
are plays where I'm just like, damn, I wish I just held it a little bit
yeah.
longer, like GameStop.
So I don't listen to them anymore. I don't listen to them anymore.
No, I it's like I don't listen to them to win the buy. I listen to them to see what they're talking about.
Hmm.
Because usually sometimes they'll be talking about one stock, but another stock that might be, coupled with it that might be related to it in some way, shape, or form also benefits, gets sympathy on the
Hmm.
upside because of whatever it is they're talking about. So I definitely don't chase analyst picks. But if I were to chase one, it would have been GameStop because it just was going on a magnificent run. It was super overbought. That's why I didn't buy it. Um, but now, as it's consolidating and they're inside investors who want this company to do well, and I forgot who they put on their board. It's a new guy that they put on their board, but essentially he has a lot of experience with companies that are that want to move their their market share into the online space. Um, so I don't remember the gentleman's name, but they picked up a new board member, and yeah, they're looking for it to go up. Um, yeah, they've been just moving. Um, yeah, they got a what is it? Board gets makeover. All right. Board member investor. We can shift in position. That way we can overlook. Yeah, I don't remember who the analyst is, and nor are they saying. Oh, he was from Chewy, Ryan Cohen. There, that's what it was. So, and we see the success of Chewy. So, GameStop looks like it could also be, move in that same direction if market sentiment says so. Um, but like I said, I end up selling a lot of my winners a lot sooner than I
Hmm.
should, and this is one that if I held, a little bit longer, had a little bit more patience, I could have captured this upside move. You
You
know,
know this. You know this. Sometimes they even upgrade these stocks and they upgrade them. They go down right away.
right? Or they come out with earnings, and their earnings is spectacular, and the stock goes down. Like it doesn't make any sense.
Nvidia did me that one time. I kept the option through earnings, and the earnings they made a few $1 billion in profit, and didn't move,
Which is crazy.
didn't move. Billions of dollars in profit. Nvidia can move 20 or $30,
See?
and it didn't move.
And it's crazy. And it didn't move, even though
It
there was
it
positive flow of money. It's
how much billions of dollars in profit, and it didn't move.
like
That's,
it's
I
just,
call it manipulation.
oh yeah,
It didn't go
do
up,
that.
or it didn't go up. It didn't go down. It's as if nothing didn't happen.
It's just like here, Wells Fargo, they actually reported, 64 cents share of profit, where it was more, 5 cents more than what the analyst suggesting or estimated. So
Hmm.
even though it still, outperformed what the estimate said, it still came down. I think B was it BA? Is it BA for Bank of No, it's Boeing. Bank, is it BOA? What's Bank of America again? Uh,
AC. No.
BAC? Yes, there we go. Yeah, you're right. Same thing with Bank of America. You know, that's why I'm very interested in what, well, they have earnings coming out tomorrow, but that's why I'm very interested in seeing what banks do, because I really do think that there's a lot of banks that are, you know, that could get pushed out in a sense if there's a lot more digital happening, or that people are taking their banks onto the online platforms.
Mm-hmm.
I believe there was a stock that just came out in the market called Affirm, and
Mm-hmm.
Affirm is one of those bank disruptors, right? I'm trying to remember what is it that they because they came out with Poshmark.
Okay.
Um, but Affirm, from what I remember, they're supposed to be a market disruptor when it comes to banking. If I can just read it to yeah, so I think it's for small businesses. Hold on. Yeah, operates a platform for digital and mobile first commerce in the United States and Canada since 2020 and September 30. The company has approximately 6,500 merchants integrated on its platform, covering small businesses, large enterprise, direct to consumer brands, brick and mortar stores, and companies. The merchant represents a range of industries. How come I can't shrink that? Industries including sporting goods and outdoors, furnitures and homeware, travel, apparel, accessories, consumer electronics, and jewelry. So so they do a little bit more than just banking, but it's like Visa or American Express, where you know they're dealing directly with the consumer, consumer type brands, and it's allowing the small businesses to be able to get away from the traditional banks, like something like Affirm and PayPal would definitely benefit for if the banks pull back a lot. But the only thing that we know with the banks is that real estate, they have a lot of backing when it comes to real estate, so that would be the one thing that would definitely keep them afloat, if they don't mess that up again.
Yeah, and they're processing all the loans. Yeah, I think I don't think banks have a problem moving forward. Smaller banks maybe, but banks should do well.
I hope so. Like, there's only like
Yeah.
a handful of banks anyway. Like, even though Capital One is a bank, it's not like a major bank. Like, it's not one that people really have a close eye on. I don't think. Like, it's usually J.P. Morgan, Goldman Sachs, of
Yeah,
course,
exactly. The big banks are
Wells
going to do
Fargo.
well, I should say.
Yeah, like
I
those are
think they all
definitely
do. They're all taking out loan. Like they're all getting money to loan out, so they're going to reap the benefits of that.
correct. Correct.
Um, there's
So
one
that would be
stock that
for
I
all
remember.
business, like all business real estate.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Say that again,
Oh no,
James.
no, that's all I had to say. I mean, I just think banks are moving forward. I mean,
Yeah. PACB. I've been telling you about that one, and I don't. You're not showing enough interest in that one there. PACB.
And it's funny because it's like it's going to break out. It's going to break out. Um, I think I always just it's like when I get into a stock when it's overbought, it never works out for me. But
Yeah, but this there's some stocks as soon as it overbought it go down. But there are others overbought doesn't mean nothing. It just continue to go because it's all about sentiment. Look at plug. Plug just keep going, going, going. And all the same time when football went up for about 5 days, it was overbought and it continued to go. So PACB is in the um is the genomic space,
yes,
and it has scripts. It have edit Crips, Cripser, something like that.
the CRISPR, yeah, the
Scripser,
CRISPR genomic
and
splitting device.
one more. And all of those are like some hundreds. Edit is the cheapest one, and it is about what, 60? Let me see.
Yeah, I was going through last week's video, not video, but our meeting last week, and I was mentioning something of this nature where it was already like how it was overbought and what it could do after it crosses over the 200 SMA.
Yeah.
Um, and that's what it did, just kept on going lower. So now it's starting to like merge with the 200 SMA. So I can see this possibly going a little bit higher. Um, you know, relatively soon, if not, because I see what you see when it comes to a lot of the biotech stuff, using genetic sequencing for treatment and stuff like that. But you
But
know,
the news too. Consider the news. SoftBank just bought 6% in it.
someone
Plus
did.
SoftBank just bought a 6% share in it. Plus, and since that it went up, plus it's beginning to join with NVTA. If you look, you saw the news there? NVTA.
Why do I remember that? That sounds very familiar. So
In Invade. So passive bioscience
like
software
Invita or something like that, and
signed collaboration deal with NVTA to develop genomic
yeah,
sequencing, and they are in the space, so they are double teaming to catch up with with the other guys, and that is after SoftBank bought a 6% share in it.
and this one looks really good too. This looks healthy. Yeah, this looks healthy.
Right. So both of them joined together to catch Edith and Cripser, and I have another one up the top. I don't know the name in this space, but they're all very very expensive. And about 2 years ago, Edith was a $11 stock. A year and a half ago, it was just about just $11. I remember I bought this program CML, and
CML.
as I was telling you, and they had that era they had a private conversation, which they say you have to pay a little extra money to know about some of the stock that the hedge funds are looking on, and that was the name that mentioned, and I remember I write it down, but because when I began to observe it, it was moving, so I didn't pay it much mind. And look at it now, because they're talking about the gene editing space. I know it's going to be very important in the future. And here comes Edith.
Which makes sense. I think
Yeah.
that you know,
So for me, that's a long-term hold. It has gone up since I bought it. It has gone up maybe about it was in the 20s.
for
Was it?
edit
No,
or
PABC.
PACB, PACB.
PACB. Yeah, it was in the 20s when I bought it.
Nice. Oh, okay, so yeah, you got a good hold on this one.
Yeah,
You know,
I'm not gonna
yeah.
sell it neither.
Nah.
Sorry, we are married.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't see why you would either. Even though it has some pullback to it, but it should bounce. It should hold. Like
Mm.
it has everything. Like anytime that I've seen it cross, it usually only has 2 days of red before it has more days of green. So
Of
it
course.
already had its one day of red, which was Friday, and everyone had that.
No,
Right.
it went up and it went up and came back down. It went
Yep.
up a little.
Just like Palantir.
Yeah, but it went up. All of them. The only one out of the four that I have didn't go up was Fubo.
Yeah.
But CIC, PACB, and Palantir, all of them was up until later on in the day it came down a little bit.
Yeah, it still shows that they're susceptible to market fluctuation, right? Like not
Yeah,
all
but
of them, not all of them could beat the market.
I'm not worried about that because I'm not doing option on it.
True.
So
Don't even know,
I'm in there
huh,
for a little bit.
which is probably smart. You're holding on to shares. I think I looked at the options and was like, well, how's the volume looking? And it just wasn't hitting me right. Um, like how gain was or CLNE and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah, you know, when you come on to biotech, you have your volume is not a big deal. You know that, right?
you said volume is not a big deal.
When you come on to biotech, only for if you buy an option, because when you come on to biotech, all it takes is a news. Because
Yeah,
when SoftBank, when the announcement came that SoftBank just bought 6%, in a minute it jumped up $5 something. How much volume could they could go into it within a minute?
you can't.
Okay.
You can't. You can't
Okay.
stop it.
So just imagine you had the option